Have you ever really stopped to think about what happens after you click buy? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden life of your online order. Let's dive in.
You know, it feels almost like magic, right? A few clicks on a website and poof, a package just shows up at your door. But behind that incredibly simple process, there's this huge, complex system. And it has a very real impact on the planet, on people, and yeah, on your personal data.
So to make sense of it all, we're going to use a guide. This is the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, or just SASB, standard for e-commerce. Really, you can just think of it as a rule book that gets companies to be honest about the sustainability issues that could actually cost them money. It gives us a fascinating peek under the hood.
All right, so our journey doesn't start with a box or a delivery truck. Nope, it starts the second you land on a website with just a single click. Think about it. Every single image that loads, every search you make, all of that is being processed in these enormous data centers. These aren't just clouds in the sky. They're real, physical buildings that are the engines of e-commerce. And man, are they hungry for power and water. You know, it all comes down to a really simple idea. What gets measured gets managed. And that's exactly what the SASB standard does. It makes companies report exactly how much energy they're chugging through, what percentage of that is renewable, and, this is critical, how much water they're actually pulling out of the local environment. So, to measure all that energy use, the standard uses something called PUE, or Power Usage Effectiveness. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like a car's miles per gallon rating, but for a data center. A perfect score is 1.0, which means all the energy is going straight to computing. The higher the number, the more energy is just being wasted on other stuff, like cooling the building.
And when it comes to water, the standard gets even more specific. If a data center is in an area with over 80% baseline water stress, which basically means the region is already short on water, the company has to report it. This directly connects their digital business to a very real, very local environmental risk.
Okay, next up, your digital footprint. Because as you're shopping, you're not just a customer, you are a walking, talking, clicking collection of data points. And this right here, this is the fundamental trade-off of shopping online today. On one hand, companies use your data to give you this amazing, personalized experience. But on the other hand, you're trusting them with your information, and that creates a huge risk if they don't handle it right. The standard forces companies to be totally transparent about this whole life cycle. How are you collecting my data? Are you using it just for my purchase or for some secondary purpose, like selling it to advertisers? How long are you going to keep it? And how do you prove to me that you actually deleted it?
And this is where the risk gets real. This isn't about privacy policies nobody reads. It's about results. Companies have to report the cold, hard numbers. How many times did you get breached? And how many of your customers had their personal data exposed?
Okay, let's move on from all the bits and bytes and talk about the human side of this whole equation. Who are the actual people making all of this happen?
This quote, it's pulled directly from the standard summary, and it gets right to the point. This isn't just framed as a social issue, it's a business issue. The thinking is pretty simple. A more diverse team is going to be more innovative and will just flat out understand its customers better.
And no surprise here, it all comes back to data. The standard gives companies this exact template, asking them to break down their workforce diversity by job type. Are the tech teams and the executive board as diverse as the rest of the company? It's a really direct way to see if inclusion is actually happening or if it's just talk.
Now, this is another fascinating metric about the people. Employee turnover. Are people leaving because they found a better job, or are they being fired? A really high rate of people choosing to quit can be a huge red flag about the company's culture and its stability, and those things are key to creating value in the long run. And finally, we get to the most tangible part of our whole journey, the actual physical package making its way to your front door. At the heart of this whole section is one single powerful number, the carbon footprint of every single shipment. The standard requires companies to add it all up and report their total greenhouse gas emissions from all those deliveries, measured in metric tons of CO2 equivalent.
But hey, reporting the number is just step one. The standard also cares about what companies can actually do about it. These are concrete, real-world strategies, from smarter packaging to more efficient delivery routes, that don't just help the environment, they can also save the company money. It's about being smarter, not just bigger.
So we've followed this entire journey, from the click all the way to the doorbell. Let's just tie it all together. Why on earth would companies go through all this trouble to report these very specific numbers?
Because, and this is the key, every single topic we've covered today, energy use, data breaches, employee turnover, shipping emissions, everyone represents a real financial risk or a real opportunity. A sudden spike in fuel prices, a massive fine for a data breach, losing your best engineers, these things directly hit a company's bottom line.
So, what the SASB standard really does is create a level playing field. It's like a standardized report card. It lets investors and all of us look past the glossy marketing and actually compare companies based on the stuff that really matters for long-term sustainable success.
This kind of reporting is a massive step towards transparency and accountability. It puts the information right in our hands. So the question it leaves us with is this: now that we can see the data, what are we going to demand from the companies we choose to support?